Alright guys, so today we need to go ahead and get the top 10 Dokkanfest TUR list out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a top 10 TUR list, then I'll make a top 10 EZA list, and then I'll combine them into one giant list where I also do tiers later on in the week. So let's get started with this. So first off, I'm going to put these two. There's Kid. For now, I'm going to do this because let's make those the same color. I can really go either way on these two. I kind of see it as like a sliding bar. Like, I think Kid Goku's kind of the king of consistency. He doesn't really have any bad stages, but Hit definitely has more impressive peaks than Kid Goku. Hit's peaks shit on Kid Goku's. But I'd say that only really applies in like Festival, although his Usher utility is really cool in Red Zone. But he can have some weak turns in like BHFF, or like he even has some stages that can like kind of not be great for him, like Blue Goku Red Zone. So I think that makes it an easier argument for Kid Goku, but I can easily, if you want to do this, totally get that. But I'm going to do this for now. Maybe I'll change my mind down the road. So next, we've got, I think next is going to be Glorio. He's honestly almost like a mini Hit, except he supports instead of the Usher. But they're kind of similar to me in like what they do. Like Glorio is just, there's nowhere he's not really good. He shits on BHFF. He can be a little dicey in red zones with like the locking and stuff, but it's not really that big of a deal for him, I'd say. I'd say next, and this is like the glow up of a century, which most of us knew would probably happen. I think Cell is next. He's pretty good now that he has a team to go on that isn't like his own. 2 Cells sucks, but 1 Cell is pretty damn good. So I think he has successfully clawed his way up some, so good for him. I'd say this guy is around who's going to be next. I think so, because I'm going to have him under Cell, because Cell is legitimately like an important piece for some teams now. Daim Goku, he's definitely like a really good Vegito henchman. He's amazing on Vegito's team. But his support isn't really game-breaking. Well, I don't know. Depending on the unit you use it with, it can be. Like this guy with like Family Kamehameha, you know, it's like he definitely gets points for you running him to wank your units, but that doesn't necessarily equate to him being like a necessary piece to winning. But with Vegito, it's kind of different, because Vegito can just protect him from being in any kind of harm, all the while he's honestly in that way, in terms of his role, he's kind of like a mini SSJ4. In that, you know, the Vegito and the other fusions can pretty much always keep him out of danger, but he's going to be there also massively buffing Vegito. So that's kind of something to consider, I think. Who am I kind of thinking next? I think next is Int Buu. I was actually just arguing with Halvard for like an hour about this guy, but let's get the obvious out of the way. He's the god of BHFF. He's like at the very least, he's a god of that mode. Like he can do some pretty silly things, right? In Red Zone, I wouldn't say he's like dominant there, but it's pretty unlikely for him to get you killed, I think. Like, I think I need to do some runs to show how hard it is for him to get you killed, because I need to do that this week, probably. I think we need to get that out. Next, I'd probably have Buhan, I think. I don't know. I've seen some people really gassing up Buhan's villain team. I need to try it some more, but it's a little wishy-washy in my opinion. but I should try it more. My Buhan is very nicely duped and everything, but his team is I don't know, I need to try it more with the cells and stuff. I need to try it. But here, I think I like him. His power and his standby is pretty impressive, although I don't know, like, it just feels like he doesn't feel as invincible as he used to in his standby, and everyone around him doesn't really feel as invincible as they used to. I do need more experience with the team, though, but I found it a little wishy-washy. I think next we get into kind of some cloudy territory. I'm kind of thinking, like, this guy's around there. He's pretty good in all the red zones. And in Festival, I think this guy's kind of like, these guys are kind of just pretty decent in one of the two big types of content. I guess this guy could be around. Who's next? Who else was I think, you know, this guy kind of falls into this category. This guy kind of falls. These are all just units that, like, I don't like them as these guys, like I do these guys, is like kind of versatile. Like, they can look good pretty much across the game if we're not talking about Festival. Whereas these guys are kind of more, they're pretty decent in one or the other, is kind of what I'm thinking. I think Slug could kind of be in. Slug's kind of more of like an all-rounder, but I wouldn't say he's like as impressive as these guys up here, you know? I don't know. I think the next one I would have would probably be Super Saiyan 3, because he just bends BHFF over. Can't get hurt, stuns it. Like, he's pretty good. Like, these two Vegetas I kind of think of as pretty interchangeable. They're both pretty good in Red Zone, and they're pretty good in Festival, in my opinion. Well, they're not. Pretty good is kind of a strong word for Festival, just because they're not really doing much, but they're just one of the few in the Proud who can do it. Honestly, I'm probably gonna have Scouter above Big Bang Attack Vegeta. Let's go ahead and add an HM tier. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Like, I kind of think these two similarly about these two, but this guy has like an impressive active turn. But this guy, his orb changing in Festival kind of makes the difference between these two for me. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Is there anyone else we need to let's just go ahead and get all these guys into the HM and we'll talk about them. Is there anyone else who belongs? I think he can make the list. I'd run him in some red zones, I think. Maybe not the USS ones or the dodge canceling. He can be here, but it's shaky. The boy's on shaky ground. Anyone else? Not really, I don't think. Tech androids, they can be around here for their performance in BHFF, I think. I'd probably have them above him. They're better in BHFF than he is in anything. Alright. Blue Kaioken. Let's get to the elephant in the room. I don't like this guy. Maybe you could argue him over the Vegetas. I don't know, though. I don't know. I really like this guy in Festival, and, you know, this guy's just a decent, long content all-rounder. This guy, his main, like, his damage, any clips you see on Twitter of his damage are completely irrelevant. It doesn't matter, because you had to run a freaking shitty-ass U7 team to get that damage. Screw that. That sucks. That's a non-factor for how good this guy is. That aspect of him is just Twitter clip, which is fine. I like Twitter clip units, but he's not even a particularly good Twitter clip unit. But anyway, before I get ranting on this freaking unit, man, it's like, his revive, though, that's his argument, and it is pretty good, not gonna lie. Like, just a free turn, and you could put him in slot 3, like, depending how much you wank that in your evaluation of him, you could get him up the list for me. Daim Vegeta, I don't like him. He's a slot 1, but he's just a damn wishy-washy one. Like, I don't know. I don't like that the only thing he has to his name, he's not even, like, a Giga Chad at, you know? Like, he doesn't do damage. He buffs your rotation's defense, but, like, I don't know. I don't know. If all he can do is like slot 1 sometimes, he better be really good at it, and he's just kind of pretty good at it. Honestly, he could even be below Slug and the droids. I don't care. I hate this Vegeta. I'm sorry. Slug, I have barely used him in this meta, but it just seems like, I don't know. He just kind of seems like the kind of unit, if you're going to run him, you'd run him as leader, and you'd probably just run extreme demonic power. And I don't know how I feel about that setup right now. I'm kind of wishy-washy on it. Droids, not much to say. Gods of BHFF. And you can sneak them through some red zones, for sure. For sure. Super Saiyan 3 Goku, you know, you could take him off maybe, but I'd say you could easily sneak him through a lot of stuff. A lot easier than a lot of these units that I'm not putting on here. So, I don't know. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Let me know how I am dumb and wrong in the replies. And I'll see you later soon this week with my Easy A TUR tier list.